Sarcasm, Shenanigans. Interview with Starfleet Dental and Nerds of Prey. Greetings, admirals and captains. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. Some shenanigans, you might say. If you're looking at the screen right now, you'll get an idea of what we're going to be doing. So in preparation, I made sure to brush my teeth and gargle with some mouthwash. In front of me here, we have Nabreeki Dono and Butsama from Starfleet Dental and the Nerds of Prey channels. Greetings, guys.
What's up? Great to be here.
Hello. Sorry. Very first question, the most important question of the interview that we'll start off with. And I will direct it to Nabreeki first of all. Would you rather fight 100 Tribble-sized Gorn or 1 Gorn-sized Tribble?
No, I'm not really aware of myself. I'm kind of known as a man of peace. So I probably would just try to talk to all of them.
Fair enough. Mr. Butts.
I am a man that engages with many different cultures. I've heard that tribbles are supposedly delicious. I would rather eat it than fight it.
Fair enough. So let's actually talk about your fleets. Somewhat famous, maybe a proper term would be infamous. Starfleet Dental and Nerds of Prey.
Great fleets.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
I'm saying they're both great fleets. Very good fleets.
Yes. So the question is, how old are the fleets? Which one came first? I'm guessing one is a Federation fleet and the other one is a Klingon?
Right.
Yes.
Actually, Starfleet Dental was the first player-created fleet for Star Trek Online. So we're not joking when we say that Starfleet Dental is the first fleet.
Starfleet Dental was... we had an inside source look at the fleet, and they were able to determine that our fleet was the first one that was made by an actual player and not a developer.
Right.
So our claims actually stand with proof.
Yeah, and I believe NOP came a little bit later. Originally, I think, what was the original name of the KTF fleet? Was that Imperial Revenue Service?
I actually remember Starfleet Dental, or the mention of Starfleet Dental back in the day, but I was playing EVE Online back then and considered Star Trek Online to be a Care Bear game. How many members do you guys have between the fleets? Unique members.
We have a lot of members.
Yeah,
I don't keep track of that. We do have somebody who does keep track of that. Unfortunately, they are not with us right now.
We have hundreds of unique players throughout both fleets, but I think we got about 400 something in Dental proper.
Okay. How does one go about joining the fleets?
I'm glad you asked. About 3 years ago, me and another member of the fleet kept getting requests to join the fleet, and that's when I decided to create Starfleet Dental Academy. The academy started off with just 2 people, me and another person, and we hired other members to act as teachers to teach other players how to play the game and how to treat other players. The original entrance fee for the academy was about 1 million EC, and the equivalent of that today is 10 million EC, and that's how much it is now. The entrance fee is always going to be fully refunded upon graduation at probably about the end of 3 weeks, and you are guaranteed a free lockbox ship, probably of the highest value. At the time, it was a Gem Hadar attack ship,
Yeah.
I've had two graduates, and we gave them the option to leave, or they can join the fleet. One of them decided to stay and become another teacher, and the other one decided to join the fleet. They're the most proudest students I have ever taught.
So 10 million, that's...
Academy for
I'm
a
sorry.
little bit.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I ran the academy for a little bit, for about a year. I left Starfleet Dental and I took over their academy fleet while Butts was out. And I believe I only had about 3 graduates. Not that many actually make it through. We do our best. And if they really want to join Dental, then they put forth the effort.
So 10 million, that's with the inflation from after Delta Rising, I'm guessing.
No, this was back when Brian Flakes was still the community manager.
I see.
This was a while ago. It was about 3 years ago. That was what the amount was. It was when the C store turned into the Z store.
Okay. So the academies for the Starfleet Dental, for the Federation side, I'm going to assume that there's something similar for the KDF side and Nerds of Prey?
As far as I know, no, there isn't. If you truly wanted to join Starfleet Dental or its affiliates, I believe you should play the game originally how it was meant to be played, as a Federation character, and then earn your way to make a KDF character. Originally, as history has shown, the character for Federation had to reach around level 20 or level 30 before they can unlock a KDF character.
And it was mainly for PvP back then, if I remember correctly.
I believe it was just to experience how the game is meant to be played, and then when you start the KDF character, the tutorials weren't that in-depth.
Alright, so what kind of activities do you guys in either fleet or its affiliates get to? I wonder if that's a loaded question.
Actually, not at all. I can answer that. So as far as I'm concerned, what I do all day is I patrol the zones. We spent a year and a half cleansing Drozana. Drozana is a wonderful place to be right now. It's better than it's ever been before. In fact, PWE not long ago actually confirmed that Starfleet Dental were the proper owners of Drozana. So that was a big moment for us, and one that I'm really proud of. And I think that Butts can agree that we keep ourselves pretty busy in the game.
Indeed, I'm actually going to get to that a little bit further on in the interview. But the next question, how do you guys and your fleet members, how do you guys feel about the state of the game is currently, both in regards to PvE and PvP?
I'd like to go back to the previous question. What activities do we do? We do have an activity that happens every year with an affiliate, a proud affiliate known as Shut Up Wesley, and they have a Christmas giveaway that's going to be happening. It's supposedly going to be twice as big as it was last year. So just keep your ears open for that.
And I think last year they gave away, 3 billion EC worth of ships and items, and this year it's going to be double that, so it's going to be a pretty big event.
I've actually heard about that. I don't think I've ever participated in any of the years that it has showed up, but I have actually heard, and it's actually something quite fantastic, especially for, in my opinion, newer players that might not have the time invested in the game as some of the veterans, being able to get some of the, higher tier equipment or ships. So that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, they've been really successful, and Shut Up Wesley loves doing it. We all pool in 100 million EC, and Shut Up Wesley's, I call them the space 1% because they're extremely wealthy. So it's no problem for them to get the 3 to 6 billion EC that they need to run it every year. And hundreds of players show up, and I think the biggest problem is just we don't have any zones big enough to accommodate everybody. So unfortunately, we try to give out as much stuff to as many different people as possible, but sometimes sometimes are kind of limited in that respect.
I think maybe have to get in contact with the devs and see if they can make some kind of zone that actually fits that many people. Although, if I remember correctly, the old ESD used to fit, 75 people or more?
So did Rosanna. Old Rosanna did too.
Old Rosanna was a pretty messed up place. I spent a good portion of my time when I played this game to help clean it up. And over the course of 5 months, I was able to clean it up. I'm quite pleased with the results.
So, okay. I guess that could be considered an activity. Is there any other kind of activities you guys do? Or should we just jump on to the next question? Which was, how do you guys and your fleet actually feel about the state of the game currently, PvE and PvP-wise?
If I look at it from a perspective of how the game was 3 years ago and compare it to now, I think the game is doing a lot better, but there's not as much players. So it's it's half and half. I feel like it's changed quite a little bit for the better, but most other players would probably think that it has not changed for the better. I like to be optimistic about the game.
Yeah, I'm a positive person, and I think the game's in a good place right now. I know that a lot of PvPers are complaining, and I never really got into PvP very much. But I mean, as far as the game itself going, I think it's one of the best spots we've been in since before Delta Rising, actually.
There have been quite some pretty interesting quality of life improvements to the game, especially since Delta Rising. But, like Butch said, there's a lot less players in the game right now. Hopefully that will change in the future. Maybe we can get more of our old friends who have left back into the game. But it's a good outview to keep it positive, as opposed to some of the stuff that you see on the forums, which is just plain vitriol. We can actually talk about that in a little bit. I'm actually pretty interested in your characters right now. The tunes. You guys are actually pretty well known for having these really wacky characters. I'm just gonna get a little bit closer to you guys here. So how much time does it actually take to create a character like this?
Well, I can't speak for Butts, but this was not the first kind of Nabreeki that I made. I made another one that looked completely different from this guy. Kind of skinny, black skin with like neon pink spots and spice coming out of his head. And then I was playing around with it and came up with this guy. And after about a week or two of people sending me tells, either claiming I broke their immersion, which happens about every 2 days, someone complains about my tune breaking their immersion, or people saying, "Hey, I like your tune. I figured this was a winner, so I stuck with it."
Like I always say, if you get people who hate you and people who love you at the same time, you're doing it properly.
Win-win.
And sorry, go ahead.
This is my first character, and it has not changed, except for maybe the outfit. The outfit was the original Deep Space Nine outfit with the colors, and it's still the Deep Space Nine outfit, but with guild-appropriate colors.
Now, I've seen other members of SVD and NOP that also have some pretty wacky characters. Do you guys have some kind of competition going for the wackiest, creepiest characters out there?
I would like to call back to the Shut Up Wesley Christmas and let you know that during the Christmas event, we do have a costume contest. And one of the costume contests was to make your character look like Wesley Crusher. That was the very first one. And they specifically invited me to set the standard. And I had a very close-looking Wesley Crusher with the same sort of sweater. It was pretty nice, but we needed all the other players to be able to think really fast and able to create a costume within maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then just have a good laugh and sort of share stories. That's the whole purpose of it.
They
And
certainly
goodness.
are interesting. And as for the breaking immersion part, it's just that's worthy of a double Picard facepalm. I'm sorry.
When you walk into a room, you have 5 people saying you broke my immersion just for showing up. I'm like, well, that's probably the right outfit for me. Probably stick with it.
So, okay, not just to move on real quick here. These giveaways that you guys participate with, Shut Up Wesley, isn't the only service that you guys provide. You also have a channel called the Public Service Channel, or the Nerds of Prey Public Service Channel. This is actually a very useful channel, just to everyone listening out there. I personally use it, and I've been using it for a few years myself when I actually need to get something. I just want to ask you guys, how was the original idea for this channel? How did you guys come up with it, and why was it formed in the first place?
I would like to take the response for this one, Nabreeki. Is that okay with you?
Go ahead, Butts.
All right. The original idea was actually formed as a joke. That was the whole purpose of the channel at the very beginning.
Well, yeah.
We started Nerds of Prey Public Service in response to a growing problem. Fleets were charging as much as 30 million EC or more just to access their fleet bases. And the public service has grown to nearly 11,000 members and is far away the largest channel in Star Trek Online. Our one rule is that everything must be free, no buying, no selling. And doing so would probably get you banned from the channel. We feel that this is the closest anyone has come to Gene Roddenberry's vision based on people sharing and helping one another. With the rise of Nerds of Prey Public Service, every player in the game has immediate free access to finished starbases and top-tier gear. Nobody ever needs to worry about abusive fleet leaders again. With more than 11,000 members, Nerds of Prey Public Service is probably the largest cooperative public service project in MMO history, which I'm pretty proud of. If you look at the history of accusations of trolling, all originate from people upset, and justifiably so, that they no longer make fortunes selling access to fleet bases. We're sorry that it had to happen. The good of many outweighs the good of the few, or the one.
So let me get this straight. So if I wanted to buy, for example, a fleet warp core, and my fleet, for example, has the provisions for it, but has not upgraded the fleet enough to buy the core, someone from another fleet would have charged me up to 30 million EC just for the invite?
Yes.
30 million EC, and for a very limited amount of time. Let's say you wanted to go to the starbase just to buy a couple items. I noticed that one fleet in particular, they only gave you a window of about a couple minutes, so you had to know what you're going to get, you had to know where to get it, and if you didn't get everything you needed in that short time frame, you would have been kicked. And then you have to pay again just to return to the starbase to buy the other item or whatever you wanted. It's pretty much a scam, actually.
It is exactly a scam because you are not actually using any resources from their end. You are using your own fleet's resources. And
yeah, there were fleets who made a lot of money off of that. And I remember when we started the public service channel, there was a member of one such fleet, I'm not going to mention any names, who stood in Drozena for, I want to say, 48 hours straight. Because every time I logged on over this 2-day period, they were right there, just spewing all kinds of, pretty much every obscenity you can think of at Starfleet Dental in zone chat, because this channel was open and because their fleet was losing so much revenue from players getting the items they needed for free from the public service instead of paying outrageous amounts of money.
I had to actually leave from the public eye for a few weeks because of this, to avoid any repercussions that may have happened. And any people who have decided to directly go after my members, they were dealt with.
Yeah, we had dox threats. We had all kinds of stuff for this channel. It was now it's established. There's, I want to say, Bud said there's 11,000 members. There's actually like 11,300 members, I think. And it's still growing. We only reached the 11,000 mark want to say a month or two ago, so it's growing a lot. But those first days, people were mad, really mad, and I think a lot of that ill will is continuing up until now.
Are you serious? You have doxing attempts or threats?
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
I
All the time. Actually, on a good day, there's at least one. On a bad day, maybe like 5. But especially around that time, there were a lot. Yeah.
But there's a saying we used to say back in the old Eve days: "Space Pixels, serious business."
Always serious business.
Oh boy! So I was gonna ask if there was any funny stories to share about the channel itself, and I think that that qualifies as number one. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
Well, I mean, the channel itself, there's not a lot of comedy that happens in the channel because I think it's pretty self-regulating. We just have that one rule, and we've only really had to kick a handful. I can probably count them on 2 hands. The people we had to kick from the channel. Not that many people actually break the rules. But there was one guy, I want to say it was in February, he broke the one rule that we have, and it's a very easy rule: don't sell stuff. And he was selling a ship, and everybody kind of warned him that was against the rules, and he went insane. And I had to kick him. And he spent the next, I say, 2.5 hours spamming me with private messages, saying you're an asshole, or then saying, please take me back. I won't do it again. You're a bad moderator. Then back to you're an asshole. And then finally he told me, I'm crying in real life. Please take me back. And I eventually put him on ignore, but he still messages channel admins to this day, 8 months later, trying to get back into the channel. And it's not going to happen. But yeah, he still does it. For 8 months he's been spamming us with messages.
I mean, that's literally the 5 stages of grief right there.
All within 2 hours. And then continuing for another 8 months.
That's just mind-boggling. It's just I can't even. I just can't even. So I'll move on to the next topic. I believe, Butts, you were the one who went and visited both Cryptic and PWE.
Yes.
So how did you get the idea for this in the first place?
So a friend was visiting and suggested that we visit Cryptic Studios. I said we needed a gift of peace and suggested ice cream. And we sort of came up with Klondike bars. And I said, let's give one to each dev. And we asked how many are there, and we were told 150. So we bought 150 Klondike bars, put them in a cooler, drove to Cryptic Studios, and just had a nice tour.
Fantastic. What was it like in there?
It was, you can imagine a video game studio, and from probably some pictures that you may have seen inside Cryptic Studios. It's just a nice little building, has a whiteboard for like constructive thoughts, like a group message board sort of thing to help promote creativity. Most of anything else I could probably tell you is restricted by the NDA that I was told to sign.
So that constructive whiteboard, whatever it is it true, some of the theories that some people have on the forums, that the devs are just sitting there writing out ideas how to just, piss off the players?
No. No, it is actually, it would just be like a question of the day. What is the cutest animal? Things like, say you're working and you have a really stressful day, or you know that a deadline's coming up, and the boss realizes that everybody's under a lot of pressure and they need some comic relief, or something simple like, what is your favorite animal, worked pretty well, and somebody wrote giraffes, and a lot of people liked it, and another person said, but giraffes are so dumb, and some people liked that as well. It was something to get everybody to get along a little bit better, to make the tension go away. It's something that I actually applaud.
It almost sounds like you're implying that the devs are actual real people.
They are actually real people. If you go to any place, ever, anywhere, if you go look at how people do their jobs, if you go to a restaurant and look at the waiter or the waitress who's just being really nice to you. They're actual real people. They're not just doing their jobs. They're not just trying to make ends meet. They're trying to enjoy their lives. And if you look at it that way, as every single player in this game is an actual real person, then it makes the game more enjoyable, and you can become more personal and develop better relationships with everybody. And that's what we do, what we strive for in Starfleet Dental.
That is beautiful. That's great, Butts. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So my next question is, among all the devs that you've met, who would be your favorite, and why is it Zeronius Rex?
I would actually say my favorite dev is Cryptic Oats and Cryptic Cat, but I can't say any more about that.
Now you got me curious. What?
Yeah.
Zeronius
I'm
Rex
sorry, I can't explain why.
Okay, Zeronius Rex doesn't even get a mention?
Zeronius Rex, we offered her ice cream, and she was a bit sick from the event. Said it would be nice, but she can't have any ice cream, which is unfortunate. I hope she had some ice cream later in the day.
So you also went to Perfect World Entertainment, I believe's offices. Not
that was
too long.
Just me. It was only me that went to Perfect World. I was invited by somebody in the company, somebody very influential in the company. Security was expecting me. They let me in. I brought in 10 pounds of Skittles. It was a wonderful place to visit. Would visit again. 11 out of 10.
Now here's the important thing. Are we talking the original Skittles, or those cheap knockoff things that they came up with afterwards?
I'm talking about, I went to Target, bought 10 pounds of Skittles, put them in a cart, bought them, took them to my car, put them in a bag, went into the studios, gave a bag of Skittles to the receptionist, and handed them out to all of the workers that were inside the studio. And it was actually a very friendly experience. I would recommend it to anybody who they would like to bring in. I was introduced to all of the hardworking individuals. They stood up, shook my hand, introduced themselves. They knew who I was, and they were actually very pleased to meet me.
I do believe you have a picture album for both your visits to both Cryptic and Perfect World.
I have some pictures. I did not take many because I respect everyone's privacy and did not want to take pictures of them without their permission.
Okay.
I can link a couple of pictures in this chat.
Yeah, if you drop them down in the TeamSpeak chat, I will add them to the description of the video for people to check out. So did you well, we know that you kind of bribed the devs with some ice cream and Skittles. Did the devs bribe you with anything?
One moment, let me send these images.
Wait, are you saying that we bribed the devs?
Well, I'm just using, the common vernacular that you might find on the forums, for example. And we're actually going to get to some of that stuff in a couple of minutes.
Right.
I will confirm I actually did try bribing the devs. It was with all good intentions. I was doing it as a joke. See, an unfortunate event happened to my main account. It's no longer able to play this game. So I play this game under multiple different aliases, but I can't confirm or deny how many of them are actually me or other players. But I did try to bribe them with $500 rolled up in tens. They took it in good humor. They weren't expecting it, but it made a great atmosphere. Of course, I will never be unbanned.
Did they try to bribe you, by any chance?
No, they weren't paid enough.
Did you actually learn any secrets while you were there?
Yes.
Are you going to tell us any of these secrets?
No.
On a scale of 1 to Skittles, how much fun did you have?
Like I said, I brought those Skittles. It was a wonderful, wonderful place to visit. There was a lot of art everywhere in PWE. There was a lot of art everywhere in Cryptic Studios. I would always love to visit again. Of course, they're quite nearby. They're not within the same area. One's in the South Bay area, and one is on the East Bay. But I would definitely visit again if they offered me another invite.
So apart from some goodwill and some good feelings, did you leave there with anything else?
I was given some gifts by a member of, I guess, the team at Perfect World Entertainment. It was just some Star Trek toys and a nice mug. I thought it was just, I was being offered a glass of water, but apparently I was supposed to keep the mug. And it's actually a really decent, nice glass mug. And as for the toys, I gave them to my mother because she's a pretty big Star Trek fan.
To get on a more serious note here, there has been some controversy on the forums, of course, from certain portions of the community regarding this visit. Some people actually kind of flipped out about it. In some regards, some people seem to believe that it showed that PWE and Cryptic is basically giving you free reign to troll the community. And I'm just paraphrasing what some of the stuff I've seen on the forums. This is not my personal opinion. Some other theories have popped up saying that dental members will be hired as devs, or some of the devs are actually dental members. Is there anything you'd like to comment in regards to that?
All I can say is that everything that happened at the studios, at the locations, turned out the way they were supposed to turn out. I cannot confirm or deny that any of this was planned, but it was all in good faith. It was all to bring everybody closer together. If people got upset, then so be it.
In other words, you're just a member of the community that went on a visit in good faith and had some fun with the developers.
Yes.
Now, speaking about controversy, your fleets and its members kind of have a history of controversy and antagonism and acrimony and superciliousness within the community. And I just want to take a next portion of the interview to talk about some of these controversies, if you don't mind. Most recently, I believe, Nabreeki, you were accused of collaborating with that DDoSer from a month back. Would you care to clarify some of this for us, please?
Yeah, well, first of all, I guess I'm just curious about what you mean by collaborating. Like, I don't know how to DDoS or anything like that, but I mean, when you say collaborating, what are you referring to exactly?
Well, I'm not too clear on this myself. I wasn't really paying too much attention to the DDoSer himself, but I seem to have caught glances, certain posts on the forums saying that you were friends with him, or you were encouraging him, or you were benefiting from this. It's not really that clear for myself. Maybe it's not so clear for everyone else out there. So that's basically the question. What was going on? Do you even know who this guy is?
Well, yeah, I mean, so this guy, I think I know where all this came from. This came from a tweet that I sent him while he was DDoSing PWE, and the tweet said something kind of tongue-in-cheek, called himself the Neverwinter God, right? So I sent him a tweet saying we must appease the Neverwinter God, or something like that, and people ran with it. and I saw those accusations actually in the forums and on Reddit, and I thought they were hilarious because I send one tweet, and people are up in arms. Of course, it's a dental. Of course, there's a dental behind it. Um, but really, I mean, I wasn't egging the guy on any more than any of the other players who were spamming him with hate messages. You know, F you, let me play my game. Hey jerk, the police are going to come find you, arrest. You know, there's all these kinds of things that people are saying, and he loved it. He ate it up. So I think what I did is I sent him a relatively friendly tweet. I mean, of course, while he's DDoSing, I can't play the game either, right? So it's not like I'm benefiting from anything. But I sent him a relatively, I guess, not friendly, but kind of joking tweet, and people are up in arms about it. When really, I mean, he didn't really care about Star Trek Online at all. I mean, the whole issue arose from, I don't know, there was some update to Neverwinter that made it harder for gold farmers to kind of generate massive amounts of wealth, and a lot of people were angry about it. And so this guy decided to DDoS the game, and he brought down all the other PW games with it. So I mean, it had nothing to do with me, had nothing to do with STO. I just sent a tweet, and that's it.
So you're saying that you sent out a short message and people took it out of context and got extremely butthurt over it? But that is something that I've never experienced myself. Never, ever.
Oh yeah, and I even had to send me private messages in Twitter, and it wasn't a tense or adversarial conversation, but the dev was kind of like, is this true? Are you happy about this? Are you helping him out? I said, no, absolutely not. I just sent that one tweet because all the angry tweets, the 5 million that you were getting, that wasn't doing anything. So I figured, yeah, why not? Shoot him a little joke, shoot him an olive branch, see what happens. And yeah, just erupted into all this anger over something which is, pretty stupid, to be honest.
Makes me think that there are people just hanging, waiting for any comment from you to take out of context and blow it out of all proportions. Or maybe I'm just imagining things.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, we are, first and foremost, a public service fleet, right? So I think that there are lots of people who send us messages every single day saying, hey, you guys are doing good things. You guys are cool. We like you. But there's always this kind of vocal minority, an extremely vocal minority on the forums and Reddit too. If you've seen any of my posts on Reddit, I almost can't post there without getting like -9 votes or something like that. But there's this vocal minority that just hangs at every single thing we do when all we're trying to do is get some free holding gear to people who need it. Just trying to help out the average player.
As a DPSer, I fully understand this situation that you're in, because I go through something very similar. I might not be quite as infamous as you guys, but in regards to Reddit, this is there's just a bunch of fucktards sometimes that just downvote everything, no matter who is posting on Reddit, whether it be, someone that's actually posting something constructive or beneficial. These people just will downvote every single post and comment in there. So, all of us who frequent Reddit for the past few years or so are just, used to it. It does surprise some newer members saying, why the heck does this post, why is this getting downvoted? Well, there's just some people.
There's a lot of players I like on Reddit, to be honest. There's a lot of people on Reddit who I think are good people, and I talk to them in game and stuff like that. But I think something about Reddit, collectively, there's as much thinking going on there as in like a fruit fly. There's nothing going on as a group, but there's individuals there that I really respect.
I can agree with that 100%. So I want to bring up another controversy, and you actually reminded me about this one ahead of time. And this is something I actually feel very strongly about, is what happened on Vulcan about, was it 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that?
About 8 months, yeah. I think that was, late February, if I'm right? Yeah.
Something like that. So it was when Leonard Nimoy passed. A lot of players flocked to Vulcan, to the memorial there. There wasn't actually a memorial there yet. There was just the fountain there to participate in the grieving, the mourning, whatever. And Starfleet Dental was there having a party. And
I'd like to interject. I do not wish to say that it was actually a party. It was more like we were celebrating his life, the life he lived. The others thought we were trolling. We were the most sincere any player could get within the community. We were mourning the way that we saw was really helped us out. It helped us get through this. Most of us had never met Leonard Nimoy, and we believed that even though it seemed like we were celebrating, as I was told, sort of a New Orleans-style funeral was actually part of Star Trek lore. It was in one of the episodes, I don't recall which, and it's sort of, you're remembering all the good things in life instead of just standing in one spot crying about it. You're remembering all the good things. It's more of a wake for us. That's how it was.
I want to jump on that real quick, if I can.
Sure.
So I've said this time and time again over the last 8 months or so. The memorial was an honor. It was kind of a privilege. It was one of my proudest moments in Star Trek Online. And I remember when the news hit that Nimoy had passed, I was actually flying nearby Vulcan. I was one of the first people there when this whole idea of let's go to Vulcan started. And I was in that first instance, and they all quickly filled up. I think there was more than 20 instances there. And we were just talking about Reddit. Did you read that thread about the really tragic news that we've heard about Total Biscuit?
Yes.
Right. So when I was reading that thread, that kind of reminded me a lot of what was happening on Vulcan, where we have this tragedy. If you don't know the story, Total Biscuit is a prominent YouTuber who just realized he had, I think, inoperable cancer. And when I was reading the thread, a lot of well wishes. The whole thread was built on sending out well wishes and kind of positive energy. And when I was on that thread, I saw all these people starting to have this competition over, who was going to be sicker later in life. We had someone saying like, "Oh, my family has a history of this disease, so this is what I look forward to in 20 years." And another guy was like, "Oh yeah, well, my family has this problem, so this is what I'm going to have." And it was like a one-up of who's going to die from the worst disease. Now, like, this is the exact opposite of what this thread was about. There's no positive energy. There's no comfort going to the guy who needs it. And at this memorial, I saw all these people talking and having, kind of a competition over who was grieving the most. I remember a guy saying that he had to take off the rest of the day of work just to cope. And then right after him, someone was like, "Oh yeah, well, when my own father died, I didn't cry, but this, I'm bawling like a little baby." And I was like, what is going on here? And I didn't think this was a really healthy way to grieve at all. And also the fact that they were grieving over Spock, not Nimoy, which I had a big issue with, because Spock is a fictional character, guys. I'm sorry, he's not real. And so in one instance, we decided to have our, as Bud said, our kind of New Orleans kind of celebration of life. And a lot of other people joined in. It wasn't just Dental. And since there were over 20 instances of people there mourning, we didn't think it was a big deal to take one or two instances for a party. You could go anywhere else. And even Taco and Trendy and Smirk showed up at one point, and they told us to, enjoy the celebration. And Taco shared a really wonderful story about having a party for his father when he passed. So I think that there was support behind it, but a lot of people were very angry.
Yeah, a lot of people. There was a lot of anger. I'm sorry if I'm jumping in here. I didn't mean to say party, but like I said, I feel really strongly about what happened on Vulcan, and I am actually in agreement with you guys, because from my point of view, none of us knew Nimoy personally. So the amount of grieving that was going on was, in my view, kind of offensive, actually.
Showmanship. It was showmanship.
It was showmanship. I agree with that 100%. It was basically a competition to see who can grieve more. I mean, for someone you don't know personally, this kind of grieving is or should be reserved for family members and friends. And I'm sorry, none of us in this game really were friends of his. In regards to, Spock himself, like you said, he is a fictional character. He's not real. Leonard Nimoy happened to play Spock, but the character itself is not Leonard Nimoy. Spock is not Leonard Nimoy, because there are other people involved in this character, Spock. You have the writers, you have the directors, the different types of directors. Hell, even the guy that sets up the lighting is participating in creating this character. And you have the editors, the post-production team. Heck, even the other actors themselves, because there has to be a chemistry between actors on the stage when they're acting with each other. So, in effect, the character Spock is immortal. If the person who played the character on TV and in a few movies dies, doesn't mean that the character himself dies. And we do have a new movie series with Zachary Quinto playing Spock. So that character is going to continue on forever. It's immortal.
Right, and I think that Zachary Quinto is doing a great job of filling those shoes. I think he's been doing really, and I know people don't like J.J. Direct, but I think he's doing a good job. And I want to say that I understand, because this is what usually people say after I've given my spiel about it. I understand that Spock has touched many lives, but I also think focusing just on Spock does the man a disservice, because this is a man who's more complicated than a single role in the TV show. This is a man who also had a lot of, I think, personal struggles with that role. I mean, he spent how long trying to distance himself from it? And I think he eventually embraced it, but I think that we have to do the man a service, not just the character. And I think our celebration was specifically for Nimoy. It wasn't for Spock. And I think there's some people who get it, but again, a lot of it just gets drowned out in the uproar, which I thought was, I mean, it didn't surprise me, but I thought it was unfortunate.
Indeed, I remember specifically that in the recent years he had become a photographer, and he was actually a really good photographer, and was actually acquiring a little bit of fame for his photography. And he wanted to be known for, he wanted his legacy to be his photography. He wanted to move on from Spock.
That's interesting also, because someone actually posted a link in the zone chat to some of his photography, which I think was, I don't know exactly, I think there were photographs of, I want to say like women's bodies, but not like model, just like everyday women's, because I think that's what he focused on, was trying to tackle this idea of body shaming. And someone posted a link of that in Zone, and he got shouted down for it, because that wasn't appropriate for this little cry fest over Spock. And I thought that was really interesting, and again, unfortunate.
Indeed, and you're absolutely right. It was a cry fest. It was basically a game of one-upmanship. Who can show that they're grieving more. I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm just a little upset at some of the people playing at the game, and I'm a little bit regretful that I didn't actually make it to the celebration of his life, which is more appropriate for people who have never met him, who are not actually friends of his, and appreciate his body of work, of course. But we are talking about controversy, and these are just a couple of examples. You guys do have a history with these controversy, with upsetting people in the community, certain people in the community. I'm not going to say the whole community, because that'd be bullshit. I just want to ask here, and please don't take offense to this question, how much of this history of controversy and acrimony with the community, how much of it is actual intentional trolling on your part, or how much of it is due to prejudgment From
I would like to answer this. Sorry. All of it is due to prejudgment, because people were making fortunes on their Starbase invites, and we ruined that. I started somewhere. The story of Butts is another story, and I'm no storyteller. I piss greatness like gold is yellow. Why are my goons so overzealous? I'm from Hollygrove, the holy mecca.
Yeah, Butts in particular seems to be a lightning rod for controversy in the game, and I don't understand it. Butts has been instrumental for bringing Starfleet Dental to the prominence that it is known for now. And I know before Butts came along, I heard stories. I wasn't actually there. I came later. That Butts was Starfleet Dental was kind of withering away. It was on the verge of dying, and Butts single-handedly brought us back from the edge. And I think it's interesting that how much hate he gets, even when he's not in the game. It hasn't been for, I don't know how many years, Butts, 2?
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
The anniversary is January 19th. So the 3rd anniversary is coming up.
But I will say that Butts is right. It's prejudgment. I think that there are some people, we just talked about the DDoS thing. One tweet suddenly becomes a conspiracy of Dental is secretly puppet mastering this whole DDoSing of PWE games. I think that a lot of this is just from the same people you see again and again and again, who come up with these theories that are not based on anything. And there are people who are angry at us for taking away their revenue for the star bases. There's also people who are angry at us for getting kicked out of NLP public service. The few that have been, very, very few. But yeah, I see it as a prejudgment issue.
And there's no actual intentional trolling going on.
No.
All right. Well, you guys are also. I remember from my days in Eve that the Starfleet Dental was associated with Goon Squad, probably through the Something Awful forums, if I remember correctly. Am I right in that regards?
I believe we are completely different from Goon Squad. We are a much more refined and higher form of Goon. We have a lot more respect for other players, other people within our own community, rather than Star Trek Online. Same as Star Trek Online, actually. We try to make everybody feel welcome. But sometimes goons will delve too far towards the dark side, and I guess you could say they would post things that would make other players uncomfortable, and I do not condone that. I actually would remove those players from my presence.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Something Awful forums has about, 100,000 people have registered to post in the forums. And of course, not all of them are active. And the games community is just another small subsection of Something Awful. But there's really not that much overlap between Goon Swarm and Starfleet Dental. And we're completely different people. We don't really have that much. There are some people who play Eve and they come to SDO. There are some people who play SDO and go to Eve. But besides those coincidental connections, there's really no formal connection between us at all. That's another rumor that keeps getting spread, which is completely untrue. We have really nothing to do with Goon Swarm on a regular basis.
Thanks for clarifying that. I think this points towards your reputation, because this is something I say a lot. Perception is more important than intention, and people will see that you guys you have a thread about STO on Something Awful, or you use the Something Awful forums, whatever, and they're automatically going to perceive that as being part of Goon Squad. So it is possible that some of your reputation, I don't know if it's most of it or some of it or only a small fraction, is kind of a blowback from Goon Squad on Eve. There are a lot of players who have shifted from Eve to STO, and they probably remember some of the shenanigans over there.
Right.
Yes. They are their own thing. There's many different groups and communities within Something Awful forums, and we are just part of that community, part of that group of people, but we're not part of the larger Goon Squad community.
Right. Yeah, they're their own. Well,
are you trying to tell me that this huge community of 100,000 users are not all the same?
Yes.
Yes.
We're all separate people with our own motives, our own goals. But we come to the forums to discuss things that we have in common, things that we like, our hobbies. It does cost money to join the forums. It costs exactly $10, but I think it's worth it in the end. There's just a lot of great things you can find there. Normally I would go around, I would buy some candy from, I guess, one goon who actually makes candy, confectionery treats, and purchased a few of those things and give them some to my friends and my family. And it's all in good faith around there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been affiliated with Something Awful since 2001, and I was mostly a lurker, but I'll make an account in 2010, and then joining Starfleet Dental in 2012. I stumbled upon the STO thread purely by accident. I really had nothing to do with Food Swarm or any of the games community for, I want to say, the first 10 years or so of my experience in Something Awful. So, I mean, it's there, but it's just a really small part of the whole.
So is this reputation, is it ever an inconvenience for you in STO?
Never.
Nope. I mean, look at what we've done. With this reputation, we have built the largest public service channel in the game. I mean, if we had such a bad reputation, I think if our reputation was so universally bad, this would have been dead in the water as soon as we started. But instead it took off. It's thriving right now, and I think that our friends Shut Up Wesley, they have their event, their winter giveaway event every year. Players love it. And as I said before, I mean, we get lots of love from the community, although it's not always in such a public manner as the hate that we get. So I mean, I think the balance is pretty well.
On a scale of 1 to bacon, how much lulls are you having?
Nabreeki, am I clear to answer this?
Yeah, go ahead and answer this one.
I believe that lulls is a term that can be used as an offensive sort of statement. Have fun at other people's expense. If what you mean is how much fun we're actually having at other people's expense, that's not what I aim to do. I've actually removed long-lasting members of Starfleet Dental who decided to stand up against me and just go and antagonize other players. We are not part of that. We were never part of that. As for having fun in the game, I am a very fun person, but I don't really tend to have fun in game from most of the threats that I still receive for being leader of such a prestigious fleet. I mainly go or come by to see how my other members are enjoying the game, or if they would like me to meet other players of the game and let them know that there is actually a leader of this glorious fleet that does care about all the players in this game. So yes, I guess I am having a little bit of fun, but it's mostly not that much fun for being a very busy person.
Yeah, Butts gets the brunt of the hate, and unfairly so. Unfairly so, I think, because I mean he's the leader, and he's kind of the face. I think you said before the interview, you see that picture. It's the picture of his tune everywhere on our imagery. It's he's kind of stamped in dental mythos, dental lore. But I mean, I think that we, as a fleet, we are one of the funnest fleets in the game, and I think there's a lot of people who agree with that. And our parties are always popular, and people get mad that we use the disco balls and things like that. But with nullifiers and other ways of kind of getting rid of that dance area of effect thing, that I think that it's not a big deal. I think that we are in this game to have fun. I'm not in this game to stand around on the DS9 bar at Quarks talking about missions and looking over my fake datapad I'm in this game to enjoy it, and that's why I'm here.
I'm glad you brought up the party nullifiers because really some of the reactions to it is just asinine. I'm sorry. There's, like you said, there is the nullifier, and there is actually a command. I believe it's reset movement or something like that.
Yeah, movement reset.
Movement reset that stops it. Or hell, you can switch to a different instance. You can go somewhere else. It's not really that big of an issue, and did not really require the amount of tears on the forums that some of these issues have caused. And although, you know what, I really don't mind tears that much. I'm always got my buckets ready to catch the tears, and I use it to power my warp core.
Absolutely. I think there's people on the forums. You won't find these threads because they were deleted by Brandon Flakes, by Smirk, by Trendy. They get deleted pretty fast. There are people comparing the area effect of the disco ball to actual real life sexual assault and rape, and I thought that was absolutely absurd. People trying to take a real life tragedy and then try to somehow fit that into their perception of them being a victim of something that they don't like, which is ultimately just a minor nuisance at best. But trying to take something like rape, sexual assault, and say that this is happening to me, not literally happening, but it's kind of happening. It's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know if you've ever heard me say this before or seen me typing this out, something. My belief in some portions of the community, I'm not going to say all, because there are some, good people in general, but there are people, especially on the forums, who are addicted to being offended.
Oh yeah.
And they will run over their own family members on their way to being offended.
And they'll be the victims of it too, because their family died.
And yeah, there's that as well. The other thing, which is that's actually a pretty human condition, where if you dislike someone for a certain thing, whether that thing comes from a prejudgment or whatever it is, because you dislike that person, you will associate everything bad that you can think of to that person. So I'm just going to give this as an example, which pops up pretty frequently. Someone who's homophobic, for example. This is just an example I'm stating
Plenty
here.
of that in SEO, though, also, by the way.
Yeah, I've noticed. Someone who's homophobic, for example, will associate bestiality and pedophilia to homosexuals just because they don't like them. They'll, this thing will destroy society in their view, and everything that they dislike additionally, they will pile it up on top of that, which is probably something that, all of us have gone through here. You guys have, your reputation, so if someone doesn't like you for a certain thing, and everything evil in the world is going to get associated to you in their eyes. I have the same thing as a DPS, or someone doesn't like DPS, for example. If someone asks a question about how do I get a little bit more damage out of my ship, they are auto-magically turned into an elitist, for example.
Right, and the forums is just I think it's a pretty unhealthy place in general, but I think that Trendy's been doing a good job. Recently she's been, some people are, this might be a little bit controversial also, but she's been kind of on a spree, kicking people from the forums kind of left and right, but I've noticed that these people are generally some of the most poisonous people on the forums, people who have been, spreading a lot of those rumors, tinfoil hat theories and stuff like that. So I think that Trendy's done a really good job in trying to clean up the forums and get rid of some of the rabble that's been responsible for a lot of the flame wars and the trolling and stuff that's been going on there. So I think that Trendy's been, she's been doing a lot more than any of the other community monitors to keep the forums clean and I have to respect her for that.
I agree. Trendy, if you're listening, Morgan, your banhammer is glorious. Although
He approves.
I got clipped with it not too long ago. I was actually making fun of one of the people. Not going to say who, but I was making fun of someone because they are like quite a crackpot conspiracy theorist, and I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. You've had run-ins with him as well.
Oh boy, I think I do.
And yeah, I got off with a slap on the wrist and a warning not to do that again. I regret nothing. The guy deserved me making fun of him, but yeah, I probably will not push the limits with Trendy anymore.
Trendy banned me in June. And it was during that whole I hate to use this word, but the lesbian gate thing. I think it's an awful way to say it. But the players who were really offended that one female Klingon referred to another female Klingon as a mate, which was a complete non-issue, but people were freaking out about it. And a lot of people kind of exposed these really hostile, homophobic tendencies on the forums, and I was a lot of dental, myself included, were pushing back. I stepped over a line and I insulted someone who was being homophobic, and I got and Trendy banned me for it for a while, and in my view, I was fighting against homophobia, but I did make an inappropriate comment, so I mean I deserved it. But she's not partial. The thing is, if you're messing up the forums, you're gonna get the ban sooner or later.
She's very impartial, and in regards to that incident, she actually proved how impartial she was in that regards. But I'm not going to go into too much details. I don't want to name names, but you're absolutely right that was an absolute non-issue, and because it became an issue is just I don't have words for it. I'm just shaking my head. It's just let's jump on to something else. You mentioned Drozana a little bit earlier, and we can probably bring up Ryza, which is the location we're on right now. You guys, do you guys have a crusade against ERPers, erotic role players?
What?
Give me one moment. I gotta turn a fan here.
Okay, well, I'll start then. So I don't care about ERPers. If you want to ERP in private or whatever, that's fine. The problem comes from being in public zones and ERPing in zone chat or local chat, where Ryza is a perfect example. Drozana used to be before it was cleansed. This game is rated T, and we know for a fact that there are minors playing this game, and I don't think they should be subjected to this. And I think their parents wouldn't be too happy if their kids were subjected to this. And you could just say, well, it's the internet, whatever. But I mean, if it's rated T, it's rated T for a reason. So we don't really have a crusade against ERPers. It's just that we don't want them to go and feel like they can go in local and zone chat and kind of ruin that zone for everybody. And we don't troll them. It's not trolling. We act as a kind of deterrent. We're there with our poppers, with our disco balls, with our balloons, having a little party. They really want to have this immersive, I guess, cybersexual experience, which I don't understand. And it bothers them and they leave. So we're not actively trying to troll anybody, but we are actively trying to deter them from using this public space as, I guess, their own private brothel or adult playground, I guess.
When I first started playing, I asked members of Starfleet Dental where most players actually went to do all of this erotic role-playing, and they pointed me at Drozana Station. And this was back when you could leave tutorial around level 1. I managed to leave at level 6. Didn't know anything about the game. Ended up at Drozana Station. I walked around and started preaching against erotic role-playing, how it was destroying this game that I had just been exposed to. I spent 5 straight months at Drozana Station. I did a few missions, made it to level 9, and then did DOF missions all the way up to level 50. that whole time, and it took 3 months to reach it. But I did the crusade for 5 months, and it was a complete success. Most of the players who wanted this and spoke out towards erotic role playing were pretty upset. That's probably where I got my most infamous title of Starfleet Dental Troll. It was when I was declared leader by the players, by the community, and that's when members of Starfleet Dental realized there was something more to this and promoted me to leader of the entire fleet. And from then on, we led this crusade against players that would otherwise tarnish this game's reputation to one of those sick, dark games that used to have a soul that is now gone.
Yeah, when I joined the game, Butts was already famous, and Butts was already, well known for his anti-ERP. I hate the word crusade, but it's kind of his anti-RP mission in Drozena. And I mean, it was a pretty, even when I was there, the mission wasn't finished. It was a really bad place. There was one guy. I mean, that's the thing too, is with ERP, there's some people who just enjoy ERPing as consensual adults. But there are predators. There are people out there who are seriously dangerous. There was one guy I'm thinking of, and he still plays. I saw him on Ryza a couple days ago, unfortunately, who, he's in his 30s. I think he's German. And I mean, this is years ago in Aldrazana. He basically confided in a member of Dental saying that, it's this 14-year-old girl who he's following around and, quote, protecting. And he was kind of deciding whether or not he wanted to be this girl's first boyfriend. And that was probably, this is my first couple weeks of playing the game, and that was one of the most disturbing things I've seen in this game. And, I mean, I immediately fell into kind of Butt's vision for what this game could be. Clear these people out. And, I've been doing it ever since. And just following Butt's example. And that's how I got to the prominence in Dental that I'm at right now. Is just following Butt's example day in, day out.
Something I actually heard about early on when I was playing this game, when I started playing this game within the first few months. I remember we were on TeamSpeak with some of my fleet mates, and there was some guy, a new guy. He was complaining about Starfleet Dental, whatever, kicking the role players out of Drozana, and really, he was almost in tears at that point. And, he started really bitching about Goon Squad, really going at it. And this one friend of mine who's from my fleet, I remember just kind of, says to him, "Hey, have you ever been to the NOP Public Service channel?" And he's like, "Yeah, I get stuff from there all the time." And he turns around and says, "You are a, excuse my language, fucking hypocrite." And he basically tells him, "Well, this is what NOP Public Service is." And the guy shuts up for about 5 minutes. You can hear the cognitive dissonance in his head as the gears are trying to work out the the hate for Starfleet Dental and the fact that he benefited from it, which is I find personally amusing at that time. I wasn't really too familiar with the goings on. I do know that I have a strong dislike for public ERP, most likely for the very same reasons that you do. I think I described some of the portions of this actual map here, Ryza, as what was that location in WoW called? Goldshire?
Goldshire, yeah.
Goldshire on Moonguard, on the Moonguard server.
Right.
Which, if you've ever gone there, it's pretty infamous. If you just pass through there, you tend to want to have a shower afterwards.
Yep. The thing is, Blizzard took action and did something about it. Whereas, STO doesn't happen as much as I'd like. And I'm not saying we're being vigilantes here, but we're just trying to deter players from doing this publicly. And, it's kind of funny that you brought up the the NOPS channel, because we get that all the time. There are so many people out there who don't understand that NOPS and dental are one. And so you have people in the channel, in the NOPPS channel, complaining about dental. And I'm an admin, so I'll mention something about it, and they're like, "Oh, what the hell is Nabreeki doing here?" And then I'll threaten. I don't actually mute them, but threaten to mute them or something. Show that I'm an admin, and that they shut up after that. They stop talking, or some of them just kind of eventually they just like, okay, well, this is how it is, and it's not a big deal. But it is kind of funny how few people actually make that connection.
That's absolutely hilarious. So their cognitive dissonance is going off in their head, and they basically balance the need for the NOPS channel because it is a benefit to them versus their hatred or dislike of dental, and their greed wins in that case. That is
Minds explode, basically.
That is absolutely hilarious and just a testament to human greed, if you will. That is absolutely fantastic. So apart from that, that actually is a disturbing story that you told about that predator there. It sounds like the classic predator who is trying to groom, younger people who play the game who can't consent, who aren't able to consent because of their age. It is just absolutely disturbing, and unfortunately there isn't much we can do about it without breaking the TOS, terms of service in the game. But shaming them is actually probably a valid tactic to use. Did you guys did you actually have any? What did you do with this one guy? I should ask. Like, I want to know the rest of the story. Did you actually manage to get him off the back of the? Well, that's a bad way to say that. Did you manage to get him to stay away from your fleet member?
Well, I was.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
He's talking about I mentioned Predator. I'm not going to say his name now, but I can tell you afterwards. But it wasn't our fleet member that was the 14-year-old girl. He just happened to say this to someone who was our fleet member who was on an alt. So this guy didn't even realize he was talking to dental. But he still plays the game, as I said, and he even kind of said the other day, "I've been on for 3 years. You guys can't get rid of me." But I do know that for at least a year and a half, even other ERPers started to get really disturbed by him, and they kind of ran him off. It was kind of a joint effort. Kind of ran him off, and I think it was the German players who were probably more successful than us because there is a little bit of a language barrier and things like that. But he was gone for a good year and a half. He's just come back recently. I'm not happy to see him back. And unfortunately, he's been let into some pretty prominent fleets. So what I do is, if I see someone like that, I do work hard. As kind of a Starfleet dental diplomatic attaché. I have pay spins and stuff like that where he's been being really creepy. And I've gotten him kicked from a couple fleets, a couple very big fleets, who apparently he was already on their watch list because of his inappropriate behavior. So what I did was just add that last nail to the coffin. But I do that. I don't. Shaming only goes so far, but I try to do other things, get them kicked from fleets. They're also people who like immersion, so party poppers and stuff like that usually works sometimes, but not always.
It's actually a fairly decent thing. I know we've in the past we've gotten messages about X person in your fleet or X person who hangs out on your TS has been convicted of being a pedophile, and here's the proof, for example. And at that point, we will, an admin of the TeamSpeak will jump into the admins and add them to the ban list or stuff like that. There's just some things you cannot accept.
Right. You shouldn't have to.
It's pretty decent. Any other funny stories you guys have about the cleansing of Drazana or the ongoing cleansing of Ryza?
No. There is actually nothing funny about erotic role-playing. It is disgusting.
No, there's not anything funny about erotic role playing. But I mean, some of the responses we get. There's one guy who we caught ERPing several times, and what he did, I've told the story a lot. But what he did was he claimed, and I don't understand this. So I mean, if it doesn't make sense, I agree with that. But he claimed he attached a car alarm to his computer, and every time the dentals are trying to hack into his system, the car alarm would go off. And then he used to say that sometimes the car alarm goes off so often that it keeps him up all night. And I was like, it's interesting. Not possible, well, but pretty amusing.
That's impressive.
The only thing I can think of is there was one person who engaged in erotic role-playing. This is close to 4 months after I started playing, and he told me flat out that I ruined his marriage because I kept outing him for the things he was saying. Like some of the things that we would do, it's kind of like what the police would do. They'd have a plant, just a prostitution ring sort of thing. I didn't like it, but I talked with. At the time, I guess I wasn't quite leader of the fleet yet. I was close to rank general. I was close to like a 4-star general equivalent of Starfleet Dental, and I talked with the diplomatic advisor at the time, and they said that it was appropriate to do this sort of thing, but not to talk about it. And we outed this player multiple times, and they got obsessed with trying to out us for the things that we were doing. We were doing nothing wrong. We were careful about what we said, so we wouldn't void the terms of service that we wrote, and he said that his wife ultimately left him. I don't know whether this is true or not, but I think it is probably for the better for this person.
Actually, but that same person, I saw them on Ryza maybe a week or so ago, and they repeated that exact same accusation.
Oh, well, you could probably tell them that I'm still around, see how they respond. Tell them that I'm now leader, see how they respond to that.
And there's one more story. There's another guy, a special guy, a touched guy, I want to say, who we caught him ERPing again several times, and he decided he had enough. So he invited me to his bridge, and I accepted. And then he told me he was going to challenge me to PvP, and he spent the next, it had to have been 45 minutes, rolling around on the bridge, doing jumps and stuff like that. I guess trying to show off his moves to kind of intimidate me. And I just sat there watching this. And then also in like local chat, he was telling me about how much he could lift in real life, and that kind of, it was some impossible number that no one could ever lift. No human being could ever lift. And I said it went on for 45 minutes, this jumping and rolling and talking about lifting. And then finally he challenged me to PvP after all that was done, and I was, pretty intimidated. And I want to say I beat him 3 matches, and I lost 1 match. And after I beat him that 3rd match, he rage quit the PvP match. I haven't heard from him since.
The tears that you guys are describing are glorious. This is gold. I'm sorry if anyone's listening out there and got offended at that.
No offense taken, but don't wish to disappoint you, but that is actually lower tier stuff that has happened. With me and the fleet, but mostly with me. The upper tier things I can't quite talk about unless you wish to join the fleet, and that sort of thing is what we teach the cadets, and a lot of them. I did mention that you do get the money back when you graduate. If you fail, you do not get the money back, and you have to stick with it in order to get that money back, and to get that lockbox ship. I mean, it's much better than my own ship, and I fund the fleet with my own money. If anybody wishes to know a lot more about this fleet that I have constructed brought back from the dead. Feel free to contact me or at Nabreeki, at Blue Week, or at Railroke, ROKH, in regards to joining the Starfleet Dental Academy, and we'll help you out. We'll teach you how we work, how to think how we work, think like we do. Makes this game more enjoyable, makes it, I guess, it's easier on the player, makes it easier on you, makes it more fun, things like that, and you'll hear some pretty great stories of things that I've done that I can't talk about here.
Yeah, these couple of stories, it's just off the top of our heads, and we can't really, if you go on the forums, go on Reddit, you'll see some other stories that I'm sure are even better, but not getting into names, we can't really talk about it here. And the best stuff, as Bud said, is for people who are in the fleet. And these tiers are, they're great, but it gets much better. That's all I'm saying. This is just the baseline right here.
Fascinating. I'm gonna have to talk to you guys afterwards about that. And I know what you're talking about. As a DPS admin, I get a lot of similar stuff. I also get a lot of PvP at me, bro. Come at me. So let's get a little bit personal to wrap this up. I just have a few more questions for you guys. Are there any other games that you guys play apart from STO?
Yes. We do play a game called Guild Wars 2. It is with another group of players in Starfleet Dental. I am the leader of that guild, and I play under a different alias known as Aris. And you can contact me through Aris within that game. We do play on the server Maguma, and you may hear a lot about us. I personally recommend sending Black Lion chests to me. I love them. I just like to collect them. I don't know. I have a huge inventory of lockboxes in my inventory right now. It's just something that I'm really fond of collecting. It's just something unique for me. But feel free to send Black Lion chests. They're completely free. Send them to arus.1482. That's ARUS.1482. If you do play Guild Wars 2, I look forward to talking to you.
What about you, Dabby?
There's Guild Wars 2 Dental, which, I play it, but honestly, STO Dental is what takes up most of my time, has the most of my attention. Guild Wars 2 is fun, but it's not the same. I think Butts does a great job with Guild Wars 2, but I think that Dental is where it's at in Star Trek. No offense to guys in Guild Wars 2, and no offense to you, Butts. You've done a great job with both fleets. Besides that, not really. I'm not actually much of a gamer. I think I was a while ago, but I spent a lot of years away from it, and I just came back to it a couple years ago, just looking for a casual kind of MMO to play, and I started with Lotro. There's a Goon presence on there too, but it's not very interesting. And then I came to Star Trek Online, and I've pretty much been here ever since.
Oh, we seem to have lost you in the in-game. But that's okay, you're still on TeamSpeak. What are your favorite thing, or what would be your favorite thing in STO?
My favorite thing would be let's see, the community. That's definitely one of them. That's actually the only reason why I play this game. If I have a long, hard day at work, I need to laugh, need to talk to some random players, see how they're doing. I can go to Guild Wars 2 and talk to players, but they all have like this sort of role-playing atmosphere about them, and a lot of times I really just don't want to role-play, I just want to talk to people. And coming on to Star Trek Online, talking with community members or even talking with developers definitely lightens my day, since pretty much all of us are hardworking individuals that work from paycheck to paycheck. And this is sort of our out from the real world to find some sort of enjoyment. I mean, I do have friends, I do have family, I do hang out with them, but sometimes we just want that quick high that we usually get.
Yeah, Butch has been extremely generous in donating a lot of his own private funds to Starfleet Dental, and keeping this game, even in his absence. He's, his original account was banned, but he's done a great job of making this game really enjoyable for all of us. And Dental, I mean, we're a pretty close-knit group. I mean, it seems kind of difficult to join Dental. I mean, we told you how, but there's a reason for that. I mean, when it comes to other fleets and the fleet drama that you see again and again in the forums, this fleet leader's doing this fleet leader's doing that. I remember one fleet leader threatening to kick all of the members of their fleet because the Orions weren't green enough and their boob sliders weren't maxed out, and that was the justification they used for kicking everybody in their fleet. You don't see any of that drama with Dental, and if there is any drama, it gets squashed immediately. It's probably one of the most pleasant gaming experiences I've had. Since I've started playing MMOs.
What would be your favorite mission or queue? Do you have a favorite mission or queue?
I'll be honest, I don't really play many of the missions. It's not that I don't think they're well done, and especially recently, I think they've gotten much better. But as far as Q, I kind of like IGE or IGA Infected. The ground one. I have a good time with that.
Okay. What would be your favorite ship, and what role do you like to play when in space?
Oh, did we talk about what was your favorite mission or queue? Sorry, I was on the phone.
Yes, sorry, I think we might have skipped you on that. What is your favorite mission or queue?
It would be Boldly They Rode. I actually played that mission close to 12 times to get those special pull-on beams. I actually had a lot of fun doing it.
Curland here. Which I find ironic because I believe we're supposed to maintain radio silence during that mission. You just keep...
I'm sure I played that. I don't even remember playing that mission.
I just liked it because I believe it was the one where you step outside Deep Space Nine. Right,
that's the one where you're outside Deep Space Nine in the EV suit and the magnetic boots and Curland here.
I had a lot of fun playing that mission. It was actually very creative for me.
I haven't gotten through the story arc. I think I'm still somewhere in the Cardassian DS9 story arc somewhere.
It's towards the end of that. I think it's either the last or the second last mission in that arc.
After 3 years. I'm looking forward to getting there finally.
Yep.
You'll get there faster now. They're taking out like 13 of the missions come season 11.
That's pretty good news. I think some of those missions really burned me out.
Yeah, they did it for pretty much all of us. So for both of you, what would be your favorite ship in the game? What's your favorite ship that you own, and what role do you like to play with them?
My favorite ship is the Imperator 2 Star Destroyer, and I like to roleplay as a Jeffries 2 janitor. Nabreeki.
No, that's the answer. I think I have a lot of ships, but I leave most of them unopened just because I just use them for generating more EC, so I can donate more to the Shut Up Wesley giveaways in the winter and our giveaways over the summer. But the ones that I have opened up, I kind of always stick with either a Gaylor or a Decora. I think I usually use my Decora. I have the Jem'Hadar ships too, but since I don't really PvP or anything like that, I don't really use my Jem'Hadar attack ship too much unless I wanted to flaunt it. But I don't really see the point of doing that anymore.
Okay, what would you like to see in the game, and to specify what features or services would you pay money or throw money at the devs for?
Scants. I've been waiting for scants for a long time. I'd actually pay close to $20 for a pair of scants for my character.
Yeah, I think definitely for me, I like more emote options. I'm happy they're putting in some of the new dances like shuffle and the Ferengi dance. And I like some of the that clubwear and things like that. But I kind of like those little items that kind of make the characters look a little bit more unique. Um, as for gameplay or ships or anything like that, I'm pretty happy with where things are right now, to be honest.
Have you tried any of those space emotes that they released a couple of months back?
What? No,
The,
I had no idea those were even in the game. That shows you how often I'm actually in space moving around. Yeah, I have no idea.
basically, they're little holographic things that pop up over your ship. They were released during before the summer event, if I remember correctly, where they let you turn in the previous year's currency, and you could get, upgrade tokens or these emotes and certain other things because they changed the currency for this year.
Yeah, that I had no idea. I'll have to try it out. I pretty much just like transwarp from one planet to the next. So,
It's not really much. There's like a smiley face and a sad face and a live
oh,
long and prosper little hologram and thumbs
there's
down,
no like,
thumbs.
there's no running man for your ship.
No, unfortunately, unfortunately not. But that's a interesting idea. We might have to ask him to add some more emotes, something more interesting. I can actually show you after this interview is done. We'll just pop into space and I can pop some of those holograms up.
All
Uh,
right, yeah, sounds good.
so, where would we do favorite ships? Which is better? Which should you think is better? Bacon, original Skittles, or coffee made from beans that have been eaten then pooped out by a cat?
Neither. Scants are better.
I'll have to go Skittles.
The original Skittles, of course.
Original. Always.
Who's your favorite Star Trek Online YouTuber, and why is it Sarcasm Detector?
Huh. I never actually heard of your YouTube stuff until now, but it's mostly been Nabreeki. He's been making all kinds of videos for us for quite some time, and I've actually awarded him multiple commendations for these videos, awarded him plenty of in-game money, and I've actually commissioned him a few times for some of his art. He's actually a very influential person within this fleet, and I couldn't be more proud to have him with us.
That means a lot coming from you, Butts.
I'm gonna add actually your YouTube channel to the description of the video when it goes live.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's no problem. What are you most looking forward to in season 11?
I am looking forward to the Klondike-class Star Destroyer.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what's happening in season 11. I was on one live stream that was talking about the Admiralty system, and I was following it for a few minutes, and then some guy's cat was going off in the background, and I just kind of started thinking about the cat. Like, what's this cat's name? What it looks like, things like that. And I kind of completely lost focus and ended up leaving a few minutes later. But besides Admiralty system, which to my knowledge, is just docking with spaceships, I have no idea what's happening.
Is there anything special planned or any events planned for Starfleet Dental NOP in the future, apart from the Shut Up Wesley giveaway?
No, not at the moment. There are some things that are planned next year that I cannot discuss. I am still in the planning stages with that, with multiple other fleets and people within and outside this game.
Yeah, we're actually starting to do we're trying to do some bigger events that incorporate many other fleets. We've made some really great connections through the XNLP channel. Uh, you know, people seem to think it's just a dental channel, but there's many other fleets who are involved with it, including some of the Reddit fleets. I think House It's New and So it's actually a much bigger collaborative effort than just Dental NOP, and I think we've made some really lasting connections with a lot of these fleets, and we're hoping to do some joint events in the future, if we can.
Perfect. The very last question for me. What will you do when Ryza has been cleansed? Will you retire?
It's like a sarcasm. That's like a 5-year mission in itself right there. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. It would be nice to retire, but I don't think that's a reality. I think there's always going to be a place for Dental in this game. And as we discussed earlier, Dental is the first fleet. I have a feeling it's probably going to be one of the last fleets too, before the lights go off in this game. I'm foreseeing us being here till the very end. So, good news for some, really bad news for others. But that's just how I see it. I don't see us going anywhere.
I don't see us moving anywhere from here in the near future, but I may actually leave this game, but not for good. I've currently been sort of distant from this game quite often. Like I said earlier in the interview, I was sometimes playing and then sometimes not. I'd hop on to let people know that yes, there is a leader. Yes, I do exist. No, I'm not dead. And I think that eventually, when I am no longer able to play this game or do not wish to play this game anymore, I would pass leadership onto Nabreeki or someone just as influential and part of this prestigious fleet.
Yeah, I think Butts and I think have a lot of the we're kind of the face of the fleet, but there's a lot of really good people in the fleet, a lot of capable people who keep the gears turning when we're not available. I myself, soon after, I think February, soon after the Memorial thing, I took about a 5 or 6 month break, and I just came back to the game about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and Dental's still here, he's working fine. So even if Butts or I or anyone moves on, there's a lot of really capable people in Dental who know what it's about, and I think we'll keep it relevant until the end.
Any final words that you want to say?
I think that honor goes to Butts. Do you have anything?
No, I actually don't really have much of anything else to say. I mean, as far as all the trolling and all the accusations and things that I've done in the past, I do not regret anything. I do not regret the things that I've done or the things that my members have done. We've dealt with people the way that we could and the way we have. I don't regret that either. All the other members, all the other fleets, if there were any fleets destroyed in the process to help us get to where we were, I'm not sorry. I am very appreciative of the developers and their hard work. I'm appreciative of this interview. I'm glad I was able to take some time off from my own personal schedule to be a part of this. And I would like to thank Sarcasm Detector for actually letting us give our own voice and let people know that Starfleet Dental actually is human and is a soul. YOLO.
Yeah, I just want to say also, I'm pretty honored to be here talking with you, Sarcasm Detector, and obviously Butts. Always happy to talk to Butts. And I just kind of remember, being a child in a rural, hard-up small town in Iowa, laying in bed at night awake and thinking, if only someday I would be interviewed by a well-known STO podcaster. And that would just be, and here you are, and here I am. And I just want to tell your audience that, dreams do come true. They do come true. And if anyone disagrees with me, witness this moment right now.
Wow, the sarcasm there is pretty strong. I'm not that well known. There's a few others that are more well known than I am, but I am working on it. Actually, I do want to thank you guys for participating. This is actually the first solo interview that I've done in regards to my channel. I have done others with another stream, but it is really, really appreciated. And the purpose of this interview was to basically let the community, the people who are watching the video right now, get to know you guys a little bit better, and maybe, hopefully, they can actually break some of that prejudgment that they have. Maybe they'll learn something new, and you might be something positive for the community itself, something positive for Starfleet Dental and its affiliated fleets, and hopefully a little bit positives for myself as well. So thank you very much, Nabreeki, and again, thank you very much, Butts, for joining me here on Ryza and on the DPS channel's TeamSpeak for the past 2 hours. Yeah, just about. And like I promised you guys, this interview should be coming out very soon, and it will be uncut. Every single second and minute that we have spent here will be going live. Thank you again very much. And for those of you listening out there, hopefully you have enjoyed this this podcast, this particular video. And if you do, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out some of the links we have down below here. There is a link to Nabreeki's channel. I have actually checked out some of his videos before. Some of them are pretty decent, and I'm also going to include a couple of the pictures from Butts' visit to Cryptic and PWE. Have yourselves a good night.